Good afternoon. My name is Kim Barnes and I am your superintendent for Drew Central Schools. This afternoon I am here along with the coaches for Drew Central School as well for this unprecedented first sports banquet done by virtual recording due to the COVID-19 pandemic that we're experiencing across the nation. During this unprecedented time, as all of you know, our school year was cut short. But we do not want to cut short the recognition that all of you as student athletes deserve for the strong leadership you have shown our school district this year through your accomplishments in all of your sports activities. During the football season, we had an unprecedented year as well, going to our first playoff games. Basketball, you also exceeded there, cross country, and then baseball, we started off great, even though the games were cut short. Softball as well, and tennis, I could go on and on. We were off to a great year, academically as well as in athletics. And we look forward to carrying that on to keep our tradition alive, but also to make new traditions and new memories when we return to school for the 2020-21 school year. We look forward to seeing all of you back soon in August, and we wish all of you a healthy and safe summer.
Good evening and welcome to Drew Central's 2019-2020 All Sports Banquet. Not only did the coronavirus take the rest of our school year away, it got the rest of my hair too. Due to the uniqueness of the world we currently live in, we decided to do our awards online this year. We know that all of you had your seasons and your school year cut short. We just want to make sure we honored all of your hard work and accomplishments this year, especially our class of 2020. Your senior year will truly go down in history. Drew Central Athletics continue to make history this year. We started the school year out with a historic football season, finishing with a winning record for the first time in program history, as well as making the playoffs for the first time. The strides our players and coaches are making are remarkable. We move right into basketball, where our senior boys continue their historic run by winning regionals and finishing in the Elite Eight of the state tournament. Our junior boys won their fifth conference championship in 6 years, one remarkable accomplishment. Our senior girls got back to their winning ways by winning the district championship and our commercial bank holiday tournament. Junior girls had another phenomenal year as well, winning back-to-back conference championships. Our cheer squads were there supporting us all the way. Next came two rookie spring sports coaches debuting their baseball and softball teams, both winning more games than they lost before being halted by the coronavirus. Our state champion trackster did not get to defend her title, as the track teams did not get to compete in one meet this year. As our athletic director, I could not be more proud of the coaching staffs and the student athletes that represent our school and that we are blessed to coach. It has been said a coach impacts more lives in a year than most would impact in their entire lifetime. I know the many impacts that have been made by these coaches and they continue to make on our kids. All right, don't forget tonight at the end of tonight's awards, after Coach Werb will be announcing the student athlete, Mr. Pirate and Miss Pirate, the student athlete of the year that goes to one senior at the end of the awards, so make sure you stay tuned in. Now, without further ado, we will begin announcing our awards, starting with football and Coach Matt Gonzalez.
Good afternoon. My name is Coach Matt Gonzalez. I am the head football coach here at Drew Central High School. And first, I'd like to start with our junior high awards for the year. First, before we get into that, I'd like to take time to thank our administration, thank our athletic director, our superintendent, and all of our principals across the district, and all the amount of support and help that they pour into our programs, and just being there on a day-to-day basis, whether it's academically or athletically. Secondly, I'd like to follow that up by our introduction of coaches, starting with Aaron Goad, who's our offensive coordinator at the junior high level, Andy Werb is our special teams coordinator, And Justin Hamilton is our defense coordinator at junior high level. Also Daryl Scott and Coach C.J. Watson, who mans the back half of our secondary. Our awards this year, our junior high awards, starting with our offensive MVP, goes to Chris Shaw. Our defensive MVP goes to Ethan Cruz. Our special teams MVP goes to Nick Bailey. Our first Pirate Pride Award goes to Cade Bodiford. And our last Pirate Pride Award goes to Joel Brand. And when we speak about this season, this junior high season, finished with a 4-4, 500 record, it was underachieving and overachieving in both sense of the words. And for the simple fact, there were games that, you know, we had a game there at the end where Chris Shaw, we thought got over the goal line last play of the game to beat Dalloway, and should have ended with the winning season. You know, typical bumps and bruises along the way when you're speaking of about a football team, and the amount of growth that they have shown, especially that ninth grade group, including those 5 young men that just received those awards. I can't speak highly enough about them and their effort on and off the football field. Chris Shaw, starting at the top, is a tremendous athlete at anything he plays. I think you put the kid on a tennis court and he would excel. He's just got that mentality. He's got that winner's mentality, and he's going to push himself to be the best athlete that he can possibly be. Going down the list to Ethan Cruz. He's by far our defensive MVP. He's just a kid that isn't scared of anything, isn't scared of contact, completely coachable, very respectful, and do anything you ask him to do. Look forward to him having a very promising and successful senior high football career. Nick Bailey, our special teams MVP. He's special teams MVP for a reason. He's a very versatile athlete. Put him in a lot of different positions, offensively and defensively. He's really grown and matured over the last year and a half, just kind of figuring out where he belongs from an athletic standpoint. Look forward to great things in his athletic future as well. Our first Pirate Pride Award was Cade Bodiford. This kid really stepped up in a big pinch. We go into the season without knowing who our quarterback was going to be at that level. Coach Gold, Coach Aaron came to me and proposed that, you know, we have a little tryout. He thought Cade could possibly be the guy. And from that practice on, the kid excelled. He did everything we asked him to do. We put him in some very unique situations and some very tough situations. We coached him hard, and he stepped up. He manned up to every situation we put him in. Lord knows he took some shots back there at quarterback, but when the game was on the line, the kid balled out, and he just really had that X factor and knew how to take over and put us in a good position to have a chance to win a ball game. And our last Pirate Pride Award went to Joel Brand, and he's just a staple of our program and what we do. I think if we showed up and told him he was starting at center, he would do it to the best of his effort. If we showed up and told him he was filming the ball game, he would do that as well. He's with us Monday through Friday. He helps us on senior high nights. He helps us in the weight room. He's just always there. I think I speak for everybody on the coaching staff when I say he's probably the coach's favorite among the staff. He's by far one of our favorites, and he's always willing to help, always willing to lend a helping hand. He's just a great kid. Look forward to having him for three more years. That wraps up our junior high awards. So transitioning over into our senior high football season, as Coach Gold alluded to, we did finish with a 6-5 winning record, the first time in program history, and we also made the first round of the state playoffs. Unfortunately, we were cut short after a very good start in that ball game. Really felt like we had a chance to move to the second round. Unfortunately, that just wasn't part of the plan. That's not the way it played out. So before we get into the senior high awards and the accolades that these players achieved this year, I'd like to take a second and also thank the parents, all you parents out there who entrust our coaching staff with your kids every single day of the week. It doesn't go unnoticed. We're very thankful for that. We know that we're allowed to play a very pivotal role in these young men's lives, and we do not take that lightly. We understand that our platform is a blessing. It is a great platform that comes with a lot of responsibility, and we take that head on, and we enjoy every second of it. So thank you for that. Going into our awards, I will start with our second team all-conference nominations this year. And our first one goes to Jacob Chapman, offensive line, Stevan Hall, wide receiver, Trent Brown, offensive line, Jarius Thomas, defensive line, and Jaden Golden, defensive line. Our first team all-conference selections this year go to Elijah Tranham, linebacker, Travaris Shedd, defensive back, Connor Daughtery, athlete, Nakarion Young, defensive line, and Caleb Williams, QB1. And for the first time in school history, we had an all-state selection. It was also first team all-conference, but our first ever all-state selection at Drew Central High School football goes to running back Davian Mayo. And we get into our individual team awards, starting with our offensive MVP goes to Davian Mayo. Davian finished the season with 1,575 rushing yards, 20 touchdowns, and most impressively to me, he finished with a 10.1 yards per carry average on the season. And one story I'd like to tell about this young man speaks to his work ethic and what he's put in to train himself to be a football player. And it goes back to the Lake Village game. It's our first conference game over at Lake Village. We've got a 18-0 lead at halftime. Next thing I know, Mayo goes down with a rolled ankle. He's out. Look up in the fourth quarter. It's 22-18. We're down 4 points. The kid can hardly even walk on the sideline. He's over there trying to jog, trying to stretch it out, trying to get back into the ball game, and he just is physically unable to go. And unfortunately, our team morale kind of went with it. We give up 22 unanswered, down 4 points, like I said. And coming into the fourth quarter, it's about 5 minutes left. He comes to me and he says, "Coach, put me in the game." I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Not only put me in the game, give me the ball." I said, "If you give me the ball, we will win this ball game. I will score a touchdown." So I go to Coach Scott, our offensive coordinator, and I tell him, I said, "Mayo's ready, and he wants the football." You'd have thought I brought him a winning lottery ticket when I came over and said that. So we grab Mayo, throw him in, and we proceed to run toss sweep right, 9 times in a row. On the eighth time we ran toss sweep, he punches it in the end zone. On the 9th time, he punches it in for a 2-point conversion. Then we come back out and have to hold him on one more defensive stand, and the kid gets the interception, the game-winning interception, to seal the deal. I think that's just my favorite story about him from this season. It's just a true testament to his character, again, his work ethic, and what all he has put in to become such a special player. And very, very proud of him, very proud to say that for hopefully the next 4 years, we'll be able to watch him on Saturdays as he attends the University of Memphis on a full-ride football scholarship. Secondly, our defensive MVP goes to Elijah Tranham. Elijah has been our middle linebacker for the last 2 years. He will go down in Drew Central School history as the all-time leading tackler. He finished with 244 career total tackles, 24 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, and 11 forced fumbles. Those numbers right there just speak to how hard he plays the game, how much intensity he plays with, and how much passion he flies around the football field with. He is a kid that you can coach hard, but also needs a fair amount of love along the way. He's one of those kids. If he knows that you care about him, he'll run through a brick wall for you. And that's the way every single one of these coaches on staff have coached him to get him to that point and to get the results that he produced. He's just a very strong-minded kid, very great work ethic. He was actually offered a scholarship to University of Arkansas at Monticello, but he has refused to do that. His playing career is going to end with us, and look forward to the young man that he will become and the great father and husband that he will also be one day. Elijah Tranham, our defensive MVP for our 2nd year in a row. Our special teams MVP goes to Travaris T-Man Shedd. This is a fitting award for T-Man for the simple fact special teams kind of embodies a little bit of everything. You're going to play some defense on special teams. You're going to play some offense on special teams. You're going to have the football. You're also going to have to block. And I think that speaks to the exact kind of player that Travaris really is. He is well-rounded in everything that he does. He does everything full tilt. He only knows one speed, and that's full speed. And he's going to do it to the best of his ability. This young man has been a pleasure to coach for the last 2 years. Matter of fact, we were hanging up our 2020 senior signs last year, He was the last one I put in the ground because I didn't want to put it in the ground. I wanted to take it home, but Coach Watson wouldn't let me. He wanted to keep it for himself. So T-Man is going to be very missed in our school district, not just our athletic program. We look forward to what he is going to do in the future as he attends Arkansas Tech on a football scholarship, and we look forward to watching him on Saturdays. A few stats on him. He finished with 89 tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 2 touchdowns on defense. Offensively, he had 1,034 rush yards this year, 12 touchdowns, and impressively averaged 9.5 yards per carry. He also finished with 23 career receptions, 595 yards, and 5 touchdowns receiving. Again, those numbers just a testament to the character of that kid and how hard he works at every facet of his game, and we know that he'll continue to do that going forward. So Travaris Shedd, our special teams MVP. We get into our Pirate Pride Awards. Our first Pirate Pride goes to Caden Walters. Caden receives the Pirate Pride Award simply off of one play. Not only is he a very hard worker in the weight room and just a football player through and through. That is his true passion, what he does. But we go to our second game of the year against Joe T. Robinson at home, and early in the first quarter, we score a touchdown, we kick off. He gets kind of blindside blocked. Not kind of, he does get blindside blocked and gets knocked on his back pretty roughly. He comes running directly to the sideline, and he tells me, he said, "Coach, I just broke my jaw." And I'm telling you, I just broke my jaw. Me being me, I looked at him and said, "Son, you did not break your jaw. It hurts a little bit. Get you a drink of water, get your butt back on the field." So, unbeknownst to me, I run him back out on the field. He plays another quarter and a half all the way through halftime, playing fullback, playing linebacker, and is continuing to make plays. We get to halftime, and he comes to me and says, "Coach, it's still hurting, it's still hurting." So I look at it, and I remember vividly looking at his mouth, and I asked him, I said, "Man, has that tooth always been crooked?" He said, "No, Coach, I don't have any crooked teeth." I said, "Yeah, we probably need to go see the EMTs right away." So we go and see the EMTs. They check it out. They can't diagnose anything. They say, "Look, it's up to Mom. If she feels he can play the second half." So luckily, Miss Brandy and I stopped, and we had a conversation. She said, "Coach, it's your call. It's up to you." And I said, "Miss Brandy, that wasn't there when we started the ball game. That doesn't look right. He's done. Take his pads." Take his pads. He stays on the sideline for the second half of the ball game. About 1 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call. "Coach, we're at the ER. We're being sent to Children's. He has a broken jaw, going to require immediate surgery." I said, "Let me put some clothes on. I'll be there in 5 minutes." So I drive up to the hospital. Little sucker was all gassed up on medication. I probably should have videoed it. I think there probably is video floating around that nobody needs to see on behalf of or on his behalf. But he did. He went through a couple different procedures, ended up being sidelined for about the next 6 weeks, and decided, there at the end of the season, he was able to come back, finish the season strong for us, play the last couple games of the season, and then also play in the playoffs for us that first round. And just to have a doctor say that his season was over, this was going to be 2 months minimum, he would be looking well into the spring before he was fully healed, and then for him to put in the effort that he did to get himself back in shape and back into playing shape and be able to finish the season with us, it just speaks volumes to the toughness of that kid, the grit of that kid, and how much passion he truly has for being a football player. And, it's something that goes back, as Coach Scott would say, and in my day, football players were tough, and you had to endure pain, you had to endure injury, and there's a difference between pain and injury. He had a little bit of both. I think a broken jaw classifies as definitely an injury, but for him to come back in the way that he did and to still be a part of everything that we did, still being at practice, day in, day out, just, again, testament to that kid and why he's our first recipient of our Pirate Pride Award this year. Our second Pirate Pride Award goes to Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is a kid that you can count on. You know exactly where he's going to be. You know exactly what kind of effort he's going to give you day in and day out. He is one of the most coachable kids I've ever been around. We got in a position after week 1 when we completely revamped the offense, decided to go a different route with the personnel that we had, and we sat down as a coaching staff and tossed around some ideas of who we thought could play the quarterback position, who do we trust to touch the ball every single play. And it was unanimous in the room that Dub was going to be our quarterback. So from that day forward, he became QB1. Poor kid can't throw the ball out of his own shadow, but he became our quarterback, and we never looked back. Testament to that, we ended up rushing for over 3,100 yards, averaged 8.2 yards per carry on the season, and scored 34 touchdowns. So you take a quarterback that can't throw, but you take a kid that you can trust and that you believe in, and you can produce results like this. And I speak for everybody on staff when I say that we believed in him, we still believe in him, and that Caleb just really stepped up in a very quick way. He matured very quickly, and he took a grown man step into accepting that role, assuming that leadership role. He was already a leader on this team. We knew he was somebody that we could count on, and for him to step up and play a position he was completely unfamiliar with, learn a complete new offense, and lead us the way he did is complete reason why he's a recipient of this Pirate Pride Award. And lastly, going into our playoff game against Hoxie, we're up in the first half. I don't remember how many we're up. We're up a few points. And right before halftime, he goes down with a meniscus tear right before half. And you know, it's one of those unfortunate, unforeseen events that really delayed us and really kept us, honestly, from winning that ball game. We got in a situation at halftime. We had to put another kid in that wasn't ready to assume that position, another kid that we trusted and still trust and had it all over to do again. We'd do it the exact same way. But to watch that kid's season end the way it did in the first, before the first half ended of our first playoff game in school history, I know that hurt him. Obviously, he's had couple people carry him back to the sideline from the locker room so he could sit on the sideline and watch the game. He didn't want to leave. He didn't want to go to the doctor. He wanted to be there for his teammates even though he was hurt. I come over there and put my arm around him. He's in tears. And I know how bad that hurt, but luckily, just a junior, he'll be back with us. So we look forward to having him and Caden both back and really taking some more strides forward and taking this program to where we know it all can be. So Pirate Pride, again, goes to Caleb Williams. And last but not least, I've got to speak on my seniors. We only had 5 this year. We had Elijah Tranham, Travaris Shedd, Stevan Hall, Justin Farrell, and Davian Mayo. And we were very light as far as seniors are concerned by only having 5, but we had 5 really, really good seniors. And they were true leaders on and off the field. Every single one of them had achieved a 3.0 going into their senior year and continued to maintain that going into it and still maintain it until the day of graduation. These guys were leaders in the weight room, really just worked their tails off to take this thing to the next level of knowing where we needed to be. And I want to send them out with a tribute, and probably my favorite thing that I've ever received as a head coach from my FCA director when I was at Hot Springs was my athlete's Bible. And not only is it a straight depiction of the King James Version, but it also breaks it down from an athlete standpoint. It has different courses in there and different verses you can refer to depending on where you're at in your athletic career or not in your athletic career. And so each one of them will receive an athlete's Bible that I've obtained from the FCA that I want to send with them. I've got their own personal message inside each one of them, and also a little token just of my appreciation for everything that you've poured into this program. And I just want to say you're going to be missed. We relish in the time that we did get to spend together. Never forget all the memories that we made together. Obviously, never forget the historic season that we had together. But regardless, once you leave here, you're always considered family. You're always welcome back in any capacity you want to come back at. My door at my house is always open to you. I hope you know that. I love you, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I wish you nothing but the best going forward. Just know that us coaches will always be here for you in anything that you ever decide to do in life.
So thanks, Coach Gonzalez. Up next will be tennis with Coach Becca Greenwood.
I'm Becca Greenwood. I am the tennis coach, and this is my first year to coach tennis, and it was definitely a learning year for me. I feel like the the guys and girls really didn't have a very good confidence in me at first, but once I showed them what I knew and what I could do, then I felt like they gained a little confidence and respect for me then. Some awards we're going to give out today are Most Improved and Most Dedicated. That will go to Reese Gray. When I first saw her play, she has made a ton of improvement, and she was always there working on her serve, picking up balls. Whatever I asked her to do, she was there working. The next award will go, the Hustle Award will go to Michael Herman. Michael Herman he's a goofball. He likes to play. He never really is serious, and some coaches may not like that, but he was fun to be around. I wanted to give him the Hustle Award because when it came down to crunch time, he was there. He came up with the runner-up in conference tournament, and he did an outstanding job, outstanding. The next Hustle Award will go to Caleb Love. Caleb is also another goofball on the court. He's fun to be around. He just has fun. And he, another player that when it came down to crunch time, he was there, willing to work, and he proved that he wanted to win. And he did a really good job in conference tournament. He just fell short in the tiebreaker, but we got a couple years to grow on that. The next award will go to Kelly Jo Stain, and it's the Sportsmanship Award. The next award is the Teamwork Award, and it will go to Jordan Watson. Jordan was always willing to work with whoever I asked her to work with. So she was always open-minded and always willing to help out wherever she was needed. Another thing I want to do is thank all the parents that helped me this year. Without them providing snacks and drinks and food and anything that the players needed, the parents were always there willing to help.
All right, now we'll talk about the 2019 cross-country team. Cross-country is a sport where you are competing against the clock and yourself. It takes a lot of grit and determination to keep coming out in the blazing heat after school and run mile after mile and sprint after sprint. The season was a challenge also due to weather. We train in really hot after school weather, and then when we go to meets, it's very low temperatures and really cold in the morning, so it's always the climate itself is an adjustment for the kids, but they do really well with it. The problem this year, we had lots of cancellations and just really bad weather, so it wasn't the greatest cross-country season due to weather, but we still got out and competed, and they were resilient through these challenges. Our awards for cross-country this year, we'll start with the junior high. Our outstanding junior girl cross-country is ninth grader Maritza Spencer. Our junior boy, outstanding junior boy, is Michael Rimley. Go to our senior high awards. Our most improved cross-country runner this year is 11th grader Ryan Hogg. And our most outstanding cross-country runner this year will be senior Jeremy Smith. These student athletes were a joy to coach. We look forward to competing again next year. We have a good young group coming back. We were really young this year, only having one senior. And we'll have a great group coming back, and hopefully, weather permitting, we'll be able to compete a little more next year. So next up, we'll have Ms. Campagna with the junior high cheer squad.
Okay, so hey everyone, like you said, my name is Caitlin Campagna, and I'm the Drew Central Junior High cheerleader coach. And we had a really great year this year. This was my first year as the cheer coach, and this group of girls really made it something memorable. I am so proud of our really tiny team that made really big success. Each girl has made huge strides in the way that they progressed throughout the year in their skills and their dances and the way that they even found their voice for some of them. So I am super sad this year that over half my team is moving on to senior high cheer, but I know that they will be a great asset to the senior high cheerleading team. All right, so I do have a few awards today to give away. The first award is the Captain and Leadership Award. It is going to go to our captain, Elena Jones, who's in the 9th grade, and Say Durden, who is in the 8th grade. They both took this role and ran with it. They did a great job. I really enjoyed watching them just grow as leaders this year, and they really did a great job. Our most valuable cheerleader this year is Lana Boykin, and she is in the 9th grade. Our model cheerleader is Kaylee Phillips, and she is also in the 9th grade. Our most spirited cheerleader is Kenley Graves, who's in the 7th grade. The following athletes have completed the requirements to receive an athletic letter award. Elena Jones, 9th grade, 3 years of cheerleading. Ashton Berry, 9th grade, 3 years of junior high cheerleading. Kaylee Phillips, 9th grade, 2 years of cheerleading. Lana Boykin, 9th grade, 2 years of cheerleading. Say Durden, 8th grade, 2 years of cheerleading. And Trinity Colbert, 9th grade, 1st year cheer. Carly Hoskins, 9th grade, 1st year cheer. Kenley Graves, 7th grade, 1st year cheer. And Maddie Dubrill, 7th grade, 1st year cheer. And Cherish Dooley, 7th grade, 1st year cheer. I'm really proud of everyone on this team this year, and I am definitely going to have a year to remember from this. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Compagna. Next is Ms. Meyer with the senior high cheerleaders.
Hello. First, I want to start by saying thank you to my girls and their parents for a wonderful year. We had a lot of accomplishments and successes, and that's due to your hard work. We have 3 girls who are going to cheer in college next year for UAM: Kelly Jo Stain, Carly Marler, and Macy Estelle. Congratulations, girls. I know you will make DC proud. We also had 4 girls to make All-American this year: Sarah Pennington, Darby Forte, Kelly Jo Stain, and Carly Marler. These ladies have worked especially hard to maintain excellence year after year. Finally, this year's awards, I wish I could recognize everyone. All have done a spectacular job this year. My first award goes to Kelly Jo Stain and Carly Marler for stepping up as co-captains this year. I want to represent you with the award for outstanding leadership. My next award goes to my most improved, Jessica Shepard. She came into the year never having cheered before, but you would never be able to tell that by watching her on the sidelines. Thank you for all your hard work. Next, my Spirit Award goes to Takayla Lucas. She was the heart of the team this year and showed up to every event with a positive attitude and willingness to work. She will be a great leader for her team next year. Last but not least, I want to award Brittany Trott the Most Dedicated Award. Again, she always has a positive attitude, knew all her material, and all those dance steps. She was always prepared with a smile on her face. She made my job easy. Well, congrats, girls. I know this school year has been crazy and a bit unusual. I'm looking forward to hopefully starting back normally in the fall. I will miss being part of the team, but I will still be there to cheer you from the sidelines.
Next, we'll have Coach C.J. Watson with the senior high and junior high boys basketball.
I'm C.J. Watson. I'm the boys basketball coach at Drew Central, 7th through 12th. First off, I'm going to talk about my junior high Pirates. They went 17-3 this year. They were back-to-back undefeated conference champs, undefeated in conference. They got off to a real hot start. They played together as good as any junior high team I've ever coached. I'd like to mention some of the guys that didn't get a lot of playing time this year. Junior high games are short, only 24 minutes, so it's hard to get 20 kids in a junior high game with it only being 24 minutes long. But these guys stood out in practice a lot and helped push our starters, and Dayton England and LaMarcus Bolden, Drew Burton, and DeCameron Bailey really pushed our starters in practice and brought it every day in practice and helped us get to where we need to be. The awards for our junior high team, the Hustle Award goes to Ashton Kelly. He probably could have been most improved too. He really stepped up this year. He started for us, and after not getting to play hardly any last year, he had a heck of a season. Our next award goes to our Heart Award. That goes to Will Watson. He was always in the right place at the right time, and he really did the little things to help us win. He would take charges and hit some big free throws down the stretch of games. Our defensive MVP this year goes to Nick Bailey. He kind of played in the middle for us, kind of played out of position, playing in the post. He's really, really athletic. He came along. He probably led us in rebounds. He took a lot of charges, and in a district tournament, he actually led us in scoring. He had 20 points in one of our district tournament games. Our sixth man of the year this year was Drew Burton. He came off the bench. He played a lot. He's the only eighth grader that really played a lot. He helped us out and really came along after Chris Shaw moved up to the senior high team. He became a starter, but he had a heck of an eighth grade year. Our Playmaker Award goes to Cade Bodiford. He was our second leading scorer. He kind of played out of position once we moved Chris up to senior high. He had to play point guard, and he did a heck of a job leading us. I think he hit over 33s this year for a junior high schedule. That's pretty good. And our Mr. Basketball is Chris Shaw. He led us in scoring, steals. He guarded the other team's best player. His will to win is unlike any kid I've ever coached. He's got a bright future, as well as all these kids that I just mentioned do. This team's going to carry on the tradition for us. I look forward to them playing senior high ball next year. I think 3 or 4 of them's got a really good chance to help us next year in senior high. They were conference champs, and it fell short a little bit in district after we moved a kid up to help the senior high team. But 17-3 and back-to-back conference champs is a pretty special deal. And that's the junior high Pirates. All right, for the senior Pirates this year, we got off to a really, really good start. I think we started off 5-1. We had a little turmoil at the beginning of the year. Caleb Williams, if most of y'all know, he got hurt, didn't even get to play a game this year. He was a starter, or should have been a starter this year. Our 5th game in, our leading scorer, Zai Chavis, ends up breaking his arm in a nasty play. He was averaging about 18 points a game, highlight dunks every other play. I think the gym was full just to come watch him play. But he played 5 games, and that's all he was allowed to play this year because of an injury. He is signing with South Ark to play college basketball, which is remarkable after only playing 5 games your senior year and only playing about 5 games his junior year because of injury. So he's been very injured, but he's a great kid and a great player. And he did a lot. Both Caleb and Zai did a lot for us on the bench. They were always into games. I don't think neither one of them missed a game all year. And both of them during our state tournament games were coaching as hard as I was, I think, on the sideline. But after Zai's injury, we kind of struggled a little bit because we lost our leading scorer. I think we were 5-1 at that point, and after that, I think we went like 2-2. We won 2 of our next 8 games. We struggled a little bit, but we turned it on at the right time. We went to the district tournament as the 4 seed, had to play Dalloway to get into the regional tournament, and I'll never forget this. We're doing shoot around that day, and T-Man's got this smile on his face, and I said, man, what's wrong with you? In the back of my mind, I was like, man, this could be your last game you ever play, and you're over here smiling. And I think he could sense that I was a little uptight, a little nervous. He said, Coach, playoff T-Man is here. We're going to be all right. So we ended up winning by the hair of our chin against Dalloway and getting to the district tournament in the second round, get to semifinals. Played Dumas, I think had 1 loss on the year at that time. Number 1 team in the state. We get down 18 points, and we come back and win, get to the district finals. We'd moved a 9th grader up after they'd won district. We moved a 9th grader up, Chris Shaw, and he ends up scoring 22 points in the district finals. But we fell short to Helena, which means we had to play Ashdown the first round of regionals to get to the state tournament. And Ashdowns beat us in the state finals the year before. So we played them. Going into that week, we knew that we had to change some things up because they were so well coached. And I'll give a lot of credit to our kids. We put in about 15 sets, which is a lot of new offense. We put in 15 new plays, And we had 2.5 days really to get ready for them, and our kids executed our game plan to perfection. Chris Shaw guarded their best player, who's about 6'5", and if y'all know Chris, he's about 5'2", maybe. But he guarded him and shut him down a lot in the first half, and we ended up winning by 1. Next round, we played Prescott. At the time, was ranked number 2 in the state. I think they had 2 losses all year. We ended up beating them by about 15. And then we played Dumas for the 4th time in the district finals, and we end up beating them in the regional finals after trailing the whole game. Once again, Chris Shaw hit a couple of big shots at the end to lead us in victory. We ended up winning the game in state, made it to the Elite Eight, which is a great accomplishment. Going to talk about our seniors a little bit. Our seniors in a Drew Central uniform from 7th to 12th grade had a record of 126-25. They won 101 games more than they lost. And of those 25 victories, 13 of those losses were this year. They won conference as sophomores. The first time we'd won conference at Drew Central in 30 years. As juniors, they won district, and regionals, and then as seniors, they won their first back-to-back regionals for the first time in school history. They won a total of 7 state tournament games. That's the most in Drew Central history. Very, very special group. I want to thank before I go further, I left a few things out. I want to thank a few people. I want to thank my wife. She kind of helps me keep grounded during the season, and when things were going bad this season, she kind of kept me from going off the deep end a lot of the time. I want to thank our administration a lot, too, for hosting the regional tournament. For those that showed up, it was an awesome experience, getting to cut down the nets in our gym after we won the regional championship, and all the other coaches for the support that they showed during the season. They know I was in a pretty bad way in the middle of the season, wanting everything to be over, and just trying. They kind of helped me keep my cool. But back to the players. I want to honor a few kids that maybe didn't get an award, or just talk about them a little bit. When we had our injuries, we had to have some kids step up, and Kevin Stain stepped up a lot. He ended up making second team all-conference. We'll talk about that in a second, but he had a couple of games where he really showed up. When Caleb Williams went down, and at the beginning of the year, we was trying to find that 5th starter, and Stevan Hall, who had a heck of a summer last summer, improved more than any kid I've ever coached from one grade to the next, stepped up, and by the end of the year, was a kid that I couldn't take off the floor. Another thing about Kevin is he was a senior starter, started most of the year, and after we moved a 9th grader up, he came to me in the locker room one day. It was him and T-Man and Stevan. They were just talking. I was like, well, what do y'all think about Chris? And Kevin come to me and said, Coach, you need to start him. He's a freshman. He gives us what we need. He needs to take my spot in the starting lineup. And that coming from a senior just kind of showed the senior leadership that we had on this team. Now I'm going to get to the awards. Our most improved player this year was Kevin Stain. He went from not playing any his 10th and 11th grade year to starting. I think he had against Rising one night, I think he had 25 points. Our defensive MVP goes to a sophomore, Jaden Golden. He had 3 games this year of over 20 rebounds, and 6'8" kids don't grow in trees in the 3A level, and for him, he just handled the post area on defense. He just handled the lane. Our offensive MVP goes to Trenton Eubanks. If you'd have told me in the 7th grade that he would have led us in three-pointers made and shot 42% from the three-point line, I told you it was crazy. He also averaged 13 points a game this season, and he shot 73% from the free throw line. Our Pirate Pride Award goes to Stevan Hall. Like I said earlier, he improved a lot. He didn't play a lot as a 10th and 11th grader. Had a huge summer for us last year, and in the state tournament game against Clinton, he had 18 points, led us in scoring. He hit big shots in the regional finals, hit big shots in the district tournament. I had him pegged as a 6th man coming into the year, but we lose Caleb before the year starts, and Zai goes down. He ends up becoming our second primary ball handler, and he just improved as the season went on. Our Mr. Basketball goes to T-Man. Game's on the line. That's who we want to have the ball in his hands. He always is there to make the right decision. He's very calm under pressure. He ended up in his career scoring 1,175 points for his career. That's, as I figured, he's probably going to be in the top 5 or 6 all-time scorer in Drew Central history. He led us in assists for 3 years. He led us in rebounding 2 of the 3 years he played. He led us in scoring last year. He was second in scoring this year. He's just a heck of an athlete. And all these seniors are going to be successful in life, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do in the future. Now, as we get to our conference awards and to our All-State awards, All-Conference was Jaden Golden, Stevan Hall, Trenton Eubanks was a 3-time All-State player, and T-Man was a 3-time All-State player. Kevin Stain made second team All-Conference. Our All-State players were All-State tournament team was Jaden Golden. In the first round of state, as a sophomore, he scored 12 points and had 20 rebounds in our first round game. And All-State was T-Man. That was his second time to be an All-State player. That's very, very hard to do. Only 4 players in each conference make All-State, and for him to do it 2 times is pretty spectacular. But I look forward to next year. Our kids, I know they're at home working hard. They have a lot to hold up to next year. We'll be a little bit young, but I think our tradition will continue. Thank you.
Okay, next I'll talk about our 2019-2020 Lady Pirate basketball team and their seasons, the senior high and the junior high. First off, before I get started, I'd like to thank my wife, our administration, parents, and fans for always supporting us. Pirate Nation is unbelievable and swells with pride more and more by the year. You all make it fun to compete. We can count on a sea of red cheering us on no matter where we're at. This was an incredible year with some incredible teams. Thanks to the administration, we added our first paid Lady Pirate basketball assistant, my first one in 15 years. And what a asset that was. Coach Colton Williams has been a blessing. He helped and learned so much, also teaching me some things along the way as well. I'm grateful for the help and dedication to our program that Coach Williams showed throughout the year. I'll start with our junior girls. These ladies were defending conference and district champs, so they came back out this year. Last year's 8th graders, this year's 9th graders, determined to repeat and be champions again. These young ladies, over 20 of them on the roster, every day brought the energy. Their practices were the definition of practice like a champion. Coach Williams and I usually had to find a way to corral them a little and teach them when we were trying to teach them something new, just to kind of slow down and pay attention, because they are always ready. They were just a lot to just get 20-something players' attention and teach them something new, and they're bouncing off the walls right after lunch. And I mean, if y'all know Lena Crabble and Hannah Meeks and Allie Jo Cruz, Kaya Williams, some of those girls, you can imagine trying to get them to settle down and pay attention for a second when we're holding them up from playing basketball. They brought that energy to the games as well, traveling to Star City and winning back-to-back games in Star City, which if you know anything about girls basketball, that's the toughest place to play south of Little Rock for sure. And that team that they beat at Star City had only lost 1 regular season game the entire year. We finished 17-3, so we had a pretty good year as well. But then came the injuries. After the Star City game, we had a bad string of injuries. We ended up with 2 starters out for the rest of the season. We had a couple that were in and out on injuries, and we just really had, just the injury bug this year with the junior high program. We rarely had the same lineup the rest of the year. We went from running 5 subs in at a time to playing 10 to 15 players a game, to having to figure out new rotations, even new positions for some players, to figure out a way to put them in a position to be successful. Through it all, these ladies were undefeated in the conference for the 2nd year in a row and conference champions. So I'd say they figured out a way. The resolve and work ethic of this group is phenomenal, so much so, and just so much fun to coach. We really enjoyed coaching these young ladies. Like I said, they brought the energy every day, and they were just so fun to be able to be around every day. So now for our awards. I wish, to be honest, like Coach Watson had talked about, I wish I could give them all an award. They all work so hard and are all so dedicated. It doesn't matter. You know, I could talk about every single one of them. There's a lot of ninth graders that didn't get to play a lot, but you know, all of them showed up every day to practice, getting us better. We actually had at practice, we'd have 3 to 4 teams of 5 playing at one time, competing against each other. And believe it or not, you really couldn't tell a huge difference between the groups, you know, and when we started getting injuries, our rotations got smaller, like I said, but it was just some really phenomenal practices, and the kids just really got better from the 20th man all the way up to, you know, the first team and the starters. So it was a great joy to coach. All right, so my coach awards from Coach Williams and I. First one we're going to talk about is the Miss Hustle Award. This young lady was all over the court, always hustling. I mean, she hustled at practice, before practice, during practice, after school, at the game. It didn't matter. She was always hustling and getting after it and just giving us her best. And there's a big group of gym rats in this group, and she's one of the ringleaders as far as always in the gym, always coming and working out and shooting extra and just always wanting, Coach, can I shoot today? Can I stay after school today? Just wanting to be around the gym. And that Miss Hustle Award goes to Kaya Williams. All right, my next award is Lady Pirate Best Defense Award. This award goes to a girl that can really defend one-on-one. It doesn't matter if it's full court, half court, you know, inbound plays. If you need to shut down the other team's best player, this is the girl that you want to guard them. She's basically a one-man press by herself. She's went on 6 and 8 and 10 point runs by herself in the press before, just changing the game. She's a pretty elite defender, and that award goes to Lena Crabble. Next is our Best Shooter Award. This goes to another ninth grader who, when she came off the bench, she started a little bit this year when we were working on those rotations and the injuries. She was on the second team to begin the year. She's a ninth grader, so we moved her up into the starting lineup, and every time she started, she was super nervous and just really didn't play well. And I got to talking to her, and she told me, she's like, Coach, I don't want to start. I want to come off the bench. So she ended up coming in off the bench and shooting the ball really well, being for sure our best shooter all year long, and made a bunch of big threes in the corners, and we started running plays to her in the inbound plays to shoot threes, things like that. And that Best Shooter Award goes to Alana Boykin. Next award will be our Most Improved Award. This award goes to a ninth grader as well, just a really special athlete. She came in 7th grade and never played basketball before. She started out as a post, couldn't handle the ball. She's really athletic, but she just hadn't played much basketball. She improved over the next 2 years, and just, again, she's a gym rat too. She comes in, works out, and just really worked on her ball handling. Always wanted to shoot the three, and she wouldn't accept being a post. She just still has great post moves with working the post. She always would end up out on the perimeter. We ended up putting her out on the perimeter, letting her run some guard stuff, and she got better and better with her ball handling and just really has improved as a player. Unfortunately, running a drill one day in practice, freak deal, she stops and just tries not to run into another kid, and when she did, she came limping back to me saying she hurt her foot, and I thought, you know, she was spraining her ankle or something. We put a bucket of ice on it, and it still swole up bad after the ice, and ended up her mom taking her to the emergency room that night, and she broke a bone in her foot. And she was out for the rest of the year. So we had 2 of those, and one of those was our Most Improved player, and that's Allie Jo Cruz. Our next award is our Miss Basketball Award. This young lady epitomizes just what it means to be a Lady Pirate, and just she really goes about her business in a quiet way and just really handles business, takes care of business, always doing the right thing, looking out for her teammates, making the right play, says the right things. It's just a wonderful young lady on and off the court. And our Miss Basketball Award goes to Adriana Woogie Hunter. Next, our Playmaker Award in junior high. This young lady made plays for us throughout the year. She started out as our backup point guard. like I said, after injury, she ended up not being a point guard anymore. We moved her to the 4 because we had Allie Jo and Hannah that went out for the season. So she ended up taking their place, never playing that position before in her entire life. We just put her in one day at practice and was like, look, you got to learn this today and you're going to have to play it tomorrow in the game. And she's like, I can do it, coach. She ended up starting for the rest of the year and really, really making plays for us and just big-time competitor and just really gets after it. And that Playmaker Award goes to 8th grader Say Durden. My last 2 awards, we had a lot this year. Just they're so, like I said, we could give so many to these young ladies. This one goes to, it's the Best Teammate Award. This award we're going to give to a young lady who, again, her season got cut short. She injured herself early on in the season, 3rd or 4th game, I think, at Fordyce. Hurt her ankle really bad, and she's had a chronic ankle injury and just really nagged her for probably over a year now. She hurt it originally, I think, in softball, and it just has nagged her for quite some time now. And she hurt it really bad there at Fordyce, ended up being out for several games, goes to the doctor recommends surgery. They said she could have surgery at the end of the season and actually try to play on it, or she could go ahead and have it now. They had to make a decision. They ended up with, the parents and the player ended up deciding they needed to have surgery as soon as possible. So she ended up basically foregoing her freshman year to go ahead and get that repaired. But the doctor did tell her if she wanted to tape it and play until the day of her surgery, she couldn't hurt it any worse. So talking with her parents and talking to her, and she decided she wanted to keep trying to play. And so she ended up playing a few more games, obviously not 100%, but she gave it her all. And not to mention being there, not only hurt, but when she did have the surgery and even when she was having to set out before her doctor's appointment, she was at every single practice and game. So the Best Teammate Award goes to Hannah Meeks. Our junior Lady Pirate most valuable player this year is a young lady that never led us in scoring, I don't think, one game. She just, as the year progressed, Coach Williams and I learned how valuable she was as a teammate and how important it was to have her on the floor. Like I said, she never really led us in scoring. She led us in block shots by far, best shot blocking basketball player that I've ever coached. She just has a knack for that, but not only shot blocking, she just really had a knack for defense and being in the right place and understanding what her job was and what to do. And like I said, anytime she came out of the game, we'd have a lull or the other team would just come back. There was a couple games she got in pretty bad foul trouble. And man, we struggled to pull the game out in the end. I think we may even lost a game when she had fouled out just because how valuable she was to our defense and just the chemistry and the flow of our team. We just really struggled with a backup 5 this year. So our most valuable player is Kesa Orr. So now our Senior Lady Pirates Award, we'll move on to them and talk about their season a little. This was a very interesting group. It's a contrasting group. We had 4 senior starters returning, a sophomore returning that had started as a freshman. So off and on, there was some out of those 5 players, they had started some the year before. Some of them had started every game. Then we had 1 junior and 10 sophomores. So you can imagine we've got a little senior leadership here, and then we got a bunch of little young, energetic 10th graders coming up who had just come off of a conference championship and a district championship, and they think they're pretty hot stuff, and they're moving up into high school basketball. So it's a big adjustment for the team chemistry-wise. So I thought, what am I going to do to figure out how to get these young ladies to kind of bond together and start having a little chemistry together, because the seniors had never played with the sophomores before in any games or anything like that growing up. So we spent a couple nights in Bryant doing team building and playing summer games at Bauxite High School against several teams from Central Arkansas back in July. So we kind of brought them all together there. And this was huge for these girls to get to know one another. My seniors had never played, like I said, with those sophomores. So many of them couldn't even remember their names because there's so many of them. They'd be like, Coach, the short girl, put her, the short one, put her in, or that real fast one, the one with, the one with the braids, and they couldn't even call all their names. So it was really awkward, and I didn't, of course, as a coach, you don't like it if your players don't even know their names. So we spent that time together. up in Bryant in the hotel. So you can imagine after 2 nights of playing ball and team building activities in the hotel lobby, and early wake ups to go to games and stuff like that, eating lunch together, and we even had some watermelon in the parking lot that we bought from a little truck patch outside the gym. Just really just bonded together, and they really got to know each other during that time, and it really helped us. And we used that momentum going into the preseason and even into our season. We started out a little slow, it's new team. They're trying to figure out the rotations, things like that. But as the year got into December, we really started picking it up. We beat our crosstown rival in the big showdown game by 30 points, and ended up going into the Christmas tournament and winning the Commercial Bank Holiday Tournament, beating Crossett in the finals. So we really finished, 2019 on a high, went into conference play in 2020. That win helped us secure the trophy for the showdown in M-Town for the second year, I think, Coach Watson, isn't that right? Second consecutive year. So we've had that for the last 2 years. So that was a big win for them. We battled back and forth during conference, and from first place, we were first place for a little while, then we dropped all the way down to third, and then back up to first. It just kind of, we back second and third. Helena ended up being the team to beat in our conference, a very tough conference. We lost some games we shouldn't have, and probably won a few games that we weren't supposed to win as well throughout the conference. With that being said, one of them, we ended the regular season at Helena. It was their senior night. They're an undefeated #1 team in the conference. Nobody in the state picked us to win. We're not supposed to win. They beat us by 30 or 32 at Drew Central. Their best player had 30, we had 29. I mean, it was a mismatch. They had a 6'2" Division I post player, and if you've seen our team, Michaela being the tallest one we got, she may be 5'8", 5'9". So it was a big mismatch for us. The tall girl had basically, she outscored us on our own the previous game. So we go into Helena with a game plan of stopping the big girl, not letting her score as much. And wouldn't you know it, it's their senior night, and we win with .03 seconds left from the free throw line, with Darby making a free throw to win the game and be their first conference loss. It was a pretty big deal and a pretty exciting night for our team. And that victory led us into the district tournament, where we beat McGee. Then after beating McGee, we go to the semifinals, and guess who's waiting for us? The #1 team that we had just beat on senior night. We figured it was going to be a pretty tough game. They were going to be out to get us. We had beat them, at their place on senior night. They were crying after the game. It was bad. So we knew we had awoken the giant, and probably in for a pretty good battle. It was probably the wildest game that I've ever been a part of as a coach in my life. I told Coach Williams, I was like, it was the craziest thing. We start the game out on fire. We make 4 straight threes. They hadn't scored yet. Before you know it, we're up 19-0 against the #1 team in the semifinals. I remember Marlo coming in the gym. He talked to me after the game. He said, "Coach, when I came in the gym, I seen the score, and I just shook my head like, dang, it's already over." He thought we were losing. So it was pretty funny. And then he said, when I figured out we was winning, boy, I really got to cheer. But we end up going into halftime. The score is 29-4. I didn't know what to say at halftime. It was the most awkward halftime speech I've ever done in my career. You're up, 25 points on the #1 team, and I mean, you don't want to mess up what we got going, and you think, well, you can't mess that up. But I've seen stranger things, so I was really worried. But we ended up running the clock on them and winning by more than 30 points and advancing to the district finals. That put us in the finals against Lakeside. A little story on Lakeside, they had just beat us on our senior night the week before. So, our seniors were really wanted a little revenge against Lakeside, because they felt like that I felt like they didn't come in focused because it was senior night and they were wanting to take pictures and this and that, and we let a game get away from us. So they were pretty determined, let's get this win back and let's win the championship. So, of course, we go into that game. It was a really tough battle. End up going into double overtime over in DeWitt in the district championship and beat Lakeside. So, first time in a few years that we won the district championship with Senior Lady Pirates. It was a pretty good feeling for those girls. Unfortunately, our season the next week was cut a little bit short. We hosted regionals here at Drew Central. We match up as a 1 seed against the 4 seed from the other conference, Ashdown. Well, lo and behold, they just got a senior back off injury who's pretty big difference maker, and they come in hot, and they end up beating us to end our season at the regional. But a side note, they did go on to win the regional, so it wasn't like we lost to a bad team. They beat everybody else in the region that they played as well. Now, so that ended our year. Now we'll move on to our awards for this year. We'll first go with the conference and all conference and all state awards that were voted on by the coaches in our conference. We had 3 girls to make all conference this year. Those 3 girls were 10th grade guard Gracie Connard, all conference senior guard Olivia Young, also all conference senior guard Darby Forte. We had 2 second team all conference members, and that was 2 seniors, Kelly Jo Stain and Michaela Benz. Also on our end of the year meeting, all 8 coaches vote on all state and all star nominees. There's only 4 in 3A. You only get 4 all state players. We have an 8-team conference. All the coaches vote for the 4 all state nominees. Those all state players are the 4 best players in the conference. This year, we did have a Lady Pirate for the 2nd year in a row be chosen as an all-state player, and that player is Darby Forte. Now, we'll move on to the awards, the coaches' award, or special awards from our voted on or picked by Coach Williams and myself. First award is a Playmaker Award. This young lady definitely makes plays on both ends of the court, offensively, defensively. She's just an energizer bunny. She's a little bit everywhere. She'll make a big play on defense for you, hit a big shot. She'll throw it to the other team sometimes. Sometimes she makes plays for the other team as well. We battled that all year as well, but she really ended up coming to her own and really helping. She's our main ball handler, and she really kept us going and made big plays for her. And so our Playmaker Award goes to Gracie Connard. Our next award is the Miss Hustle Award. This goes to a player that really always was hustling. If a lot of times when people think of hustle, they think of speed, or, flying around, being really fast. Well, this player's not really fast, not at all. But she is always hustling. She was always giving her best, really getting after it, and really always in the right spot, giving me all she had. And I probably fussed at her as much as anybody on the team. And it just seemed like I was always on her. As a matter of fact, after practice one day, I told her, I said, I'm always on you, but you do more right than you do wrong. So just remember that. And it's kind of weird to give a Miss Hustle Award to a slow-footed, big, strong post player, but this girl certainly deserved it because she was always hustling. And our Miss Hustle Award goes to Michaela Benz. This is our Most Improved Award next. This goes to a young lady that she started some last year, ended up starting pretty much every game this year. She started out just being, kind of a role player. She was kind of, not very confident, and just really wasn't sure of herself. She grew and grew as the year went and really improved. Had some big shots down the stretch for us in some conference games. Had some really big games, but what really improved a lot was her defense. She made a ton of defensive plays down the stretch of the year that really helped us, and she definitely didn't come into our program or was known coming to her senior year as a defensive player. So, and that really meant a lot to our team and made a difference in our team. And our Most Improved Award goes to Kelly Jo Stain. Next is our Miss Basketball Award. This award goes to a young lady who, again, represents everything you want a Lady Pirate to be. I gave them a speech, the seniors a speech before the season started. I talked to them about, taking things for granted. And, it's funny now we're doing this to their senior year got cut short, but just really not ending the year with no regrets, making sure your senior year you put all the effort you could. You know, you come, don't think I'm a senior and I've arrived, you know, I don't have to work as hard now. He's gonna start me, or it's my turn. Be better than that and really work hard and really try to, you know, show the younger kids this is the way you're supposed to work as a Lady Pirate, and these are the things you're supposed to do, et cetera, et cetera. And this young lady really took that speech to heart. I bragged on her throughout the year. She just really, you could just see a light bulb come on as she started coming to the gym and shooting on her own a lot in the evenings, just really working on her shot. And she couldn't shoot. I mean, she wasn't known as a shooter. I wouldn't have drew a play up for her to shoot. I mean, that wasn't something, you know, if you ask me what she was good at, I'd say she's a good defender, and she's a dog on defense, and that was her role. But before you know it, after we had that little talk, and she's in the gym all the time shooting the ball, her jump shot started improving, and really improving. I mean, she goes in that game in December against Monticello, at Monticello. She goes 6 for 7 from the three-point line. I can't remember, she had around 25 points in that game. Just really, you know, blossomed as a shooter. She made some huge three-point shots throughout the year, winning some games, tying some games to get us to overtime, just some big, big shots all year long, and just really was a leader on the team. She really just engrossed what a Lady Pirate was about, and I'm so proud of the senior seasons she had. And our Lady Pirate Miss Basketball is OY. And our last player, our last award is going to be our Lady Pirate Most Valuable Player. This award, obviously, everybody pretty much knows who our MVP was. She was our leading scorer. She led us in steals, rebounds. She's an all-around player, just really a go-to player. Some teams played box and won on her and denied her, things like that. So that's when you know you got a pretty good player. I already spoke about her making All-State and being voted on by the other coaches. So obviously a special player. She's been a 3-year starter for us, 1-time All-State, 2-time All-Conference. Lady Pirate Most Valuable Player is Darby Forte. And lastly, I'd just like to say a little something about my seniors. Just, I guess what I like to say about my seniors is just, you know, first off, they are a lot of fun to coach. They showed up every day ready to practice. And a lot of times, like I said before, when seniors get to their senior year, they kind of start slacking. They get senioritis. I had an old coach tell me one time, you'll always get more out of a junior than you do a senior. I told these girls that, and they really, like I said about Olivia, they took that to heart, you know, and they really brought it to practice. And I talked to them about being an example for the sophomores and the younger girls, because I didn't want them to, you know, rub off on those young girls of, you know, a lot of times seniors can be lazy. We have that as coaches, we can all speak about it. Our seniors sometimes just think they're a little entitled and things like that. But these young ladies didn't act that way. They really embraced the leadership role and just being team leaders, and really were a joy to coach. And I'm going to miss all of them and wish them all the best. Next up, we'll have Coach Aaron Gold with Pirate Baseball.
I'm Coach Aaron Gold, Drew Central High School head baseball coach. This year was a highly anticipated year for me. It was my first year being a head coach. Before I start, I want to say a few thank yous to my fellow coaches, and especially to my assistant coach, Coach Scott. Coach Scott, I definitely couldn't have done this year without you. You kind of kept me in line. You were my guy to ask the questions to and to point me in the right direction to go. So I just want to thank you for that. So this year started for me, school started, I'm the new head coach. First thing I want to do is have tryouts. So at the beginning of the school year, we have baseball tryouts. I think it was before football even started. It's the first thing I wanted to do. I couldn't think about anything else. So had tryouts, got a team, got everything together. So that's August. Football season goes through, we have a great football season. Only thing I'm ready for after that's over with is baseball. Well, before the baseball season, we have a team parent meeting. I explain to the players, the parents, how this year's going to go. I have high expectations, lay down team rules, all that fun stuff. So that's the preparation going to the season. After that, the team meeting, we do a lot of fundraising, have a lot of stuff we want to get done. We do a barbecue plate fundraiser. I want to thank, once again, the community and the parents for all the help that they did with that. After that, we do more fundraisers, more fundraising efforts. One of the big things we did was turf home plate. So the turf home plate project, going into this year, I didn't want to have any games canceled due to rainouts. I wanted to be able to play as many games as possible. And if games did get canceled, we'd move to Drew Central. Hey, we got turf, we'll play. So we got home plate turf right before the season. Okay, I want to say a big thanks to Commercial Bank and Union Bank for funding that, and thanks to the parents that helped us put that together. So got home plate turf, got our fundraising done, the season starts. Okay, get our first game of the season, we win our first game. Things start looking good. I think after that we play 5 games total, and then y'all know the end of the story, okay? The coronavirus strikes, a couple games get canceled, school gets canceled, and then the entire baseball season gets canceled. So that's where we are with my first year as a head baseball coach. Season's canceled, now what? Before this, I was asked to come up with the awards for the sports banquet. Well, I thought back to our first team meeting, okay, the first meeting I had with the parents, everything being based off hard work, okay, gonna teach life lessons, going to earn everything we do, kind of try to establish a program. So with that being said, at the end of the year, the canceled season, I've came up with one award. Okay, this award goes to my one and only senior, Daniel Hill. Daniel Hill earns the Pirate Pride Award. He gets this award because it has to be a tough season for him. He's played 3 full seasons at Drew Central. Okay, he's going on his 4th season as a senior. He is a starter. Okay, Daniel also has 6 period free where he's my student helper. So every day Daniel went and worked on the baseball field, hit in the cage, did stuff he needed to do to get ready for his senior season. And his senior season came along and he got to play 5 games. So Daniel Hill gets the one award of the Pirate Pride Award. Okay, lastly, I just want to make sure I thank everyone and we look forward to next year.
Thanks, Coach Aaron. Next we'll have softball with Coach Greenwood.
Now I am going to present the softball awards for this year. It has been an absolute horrible year. We had an excellent start, but it just kind of went downhill. And we were headed in the right path, but God had other plans. So, to begin with, I want to start off with thanking Coach Williams and Coach Anna. Without those two, it would have been crazy because Anna is the calmness to the storm. Anna was always the calm person whenever I was off the walls and just going everywhere. Definitely without them, it would have been chaotic, that's for sure. Some awards I'm going to give out today are the Hard Work Award. This was the player always willing to work to get better. Love for the Game Award. This is the player that shows the most love for the game and leaves it all out on the field every game. Coaches Award. This is individual who's pleasant to be around, enthusiastic, and always willing to learn new things. The Lady Pirate Spirit Award. This goes to someone who best exemplifies the heart and dedication and determination of a Lady Pirate softball player. And the Positivity Award, someone always having a smile on their face and always willing to learn. The first award, Love of the Game Award, will go to Miss Kelly Jo Stain. Kelly Jo will also receive the Coaches Award. The next award will go to Darby Forte, and she also got the Coaches Award and the Rolo Award. The Rolo Award is someone who rolled with the punches and learned from their setbacks. From the beginning, I knew Darby had a little setback when I changed her position, but once she learned how it was going to roll, she was okay with it and was willing to work harder, and she ended up being an amazing asset to the team. The next award is the Coaches Award, which will go to Allison Chambers. She also will get the Positivity Award. The next individual is Olivia Young. She will receive the Coaches Award and the Hard Work Award. The next individual is Caitlin Harris, and she will receive the Lady Pirates Spirit Award, the Coaches Award, and the Robert Award. The Robert Award is the individual that brings the best out of everyone with Robert. Long story short, Robert is kind of a team mascot. I'm not going to tell any secrets, but Robert's always with us. And to sum up, another thing I want to do is the parents. Parents were always willing to help no matter what I asked them. We had 3 teamwork days on a Sunday, and parents came out there and worked from at least 5-6 hours on the field to make it look better. Cleaned bathrooms, picked up trash, raked leaves, whatever I asked them, they were always willing to help, that's for sure. And without that, I don't know how the field even would have looked, but I can't thank the parents enough. And that will sum up softball. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach Greenwood. Now we have track with Coach Word.
First of all, I'd like to start out with thanking administration and athletic director Coach Gold for always showing me the support when I asked for something or I needed something. I could go to them and ask. Sometimes I didn't get it, but they would do what they could to make sure I had what I needed. And the school board was all on board now, and I think all the teachers finally realized that Drew Central does have a track program, and it makes everything feel better. We started out in January practicing for track, and we went all the way through to the 14th of March, getting ready to run track. Had a couple of track meets canceled because of weather, or the great basketball season kept some of the kids out, so we couldn't run some track. But you always got to support all the sports, and I'm proud of all of them. The seniors this year that all the sports had was unbelievable. Their attitude, their work ethic, their want to was never asked or questioned. They was always there, ready to go 100% while they were around. Not always was it successful, but it was. But we start out track, and I started out with very few junior high track kids. And that's disturbing in track, because if you don't have a junior high program, your track program will die. So I had a meeting with the middle school students, all 11th, 7th, and 8th graders, and talked to them about track and coming out and being part of the program, help continue it to where it's gotten to, where we had some state championship tracksters last year and plan on having more. And the day after we had that meeting, I went from having 11 and 12 kids at track practice to having 42. So the meeting was successful. 7th and 8th graders came out in droves. So I'm looking forward to the track program really excelling in the future. The main track kids that we have going into this season were 9th and 10th graders. They're the main part of the program right now, and they are going to be really successful. They already have been. They will continue to be, but COVID shut it down this year to where they couldn't excel and improve on last year's success. The worst thing about track is you get to share the gym with softball and baseball for practice time. But we all worked it out, and it all came out to where we were ready to go. I got a few kids I'd like to recognize that stood out above and beyond the rest of them. Never missed a practice, was always there. I'd ask them to do something during the school day. They jumped right on it. So my junior high awards are Gabe Butcher, male most dedicated. Allie Jo Cruz, junior high female most dedicated. Junior high boy, Mr. Hustle goes to Demo Bailey. Junior high Madam Hustle goes to Lana Crable. Looking forward to great things for all the junior high track team, and these 4 right here, I expect them to help us win a state championship overall in the future for Drew Central Track. And we'll move on to senior high. It's pretty much the same talk, same thought process going into the future. We had no seniors on the track team this year that had ran track before. And we had a couple that I was going to share with softball. Thanks to Coach Greenwood allowing that to happen, that they were going to come out and try to help the senior high program excel and possibly compete for an overall state championship this year. I know I had a few kids that would have competed and possibly won a state championship as individuals or relay teams this year. with the senior high track team. And I'll go ahead and get those awards and get this thing done for this evening. Senior high, most dedicated male, Arnold Diaz. Arnold, probably the most dedicated track kid I've ever had. He's always at practice, never misses practice, never misses a meet, runs anything, participates in anything I ask him to. Sometimes you get a sour face when asking to participate in something, but you know what? He'll go ahead and do it, whether he knows how or wants to know how or wants to do it, but he'll do it the best he can, and I appreciate that. And my senior high female most dedicated goes to Jatiah Johnson. Jatiah, she's there. She's always there, always asking questions, always wanting to know what she can do on her own to get better. And I certainly definitely appreciate that, as all coaches do. And my senior high male Mr. Hustle goes to Messiah Davis. Messiah gives me everything he's got every time he shows up. That's all you can ask for anybody. And my senior high Madam Hustle goes to Jayla Bunn. I had her for 9 days before we shut down for COVID. And after her excellent freshman year on the senior high program, she came in a little bit behind, and she wasn't going to accept that. And for those 9 days, she worked harder and longer than anybody else we had. So with that all said, our 2020 track program didn't go very far, didn't have any competitions except for within themselves and amongst themselves. I was proud of the way they worked and can't wait till January gets here next year so we can start over. Thank you all for a great year. Maybe we'll get through this and we won't have these problems again. Thank you all.
All right, so to conclude our sports banquet virtually this year, the last awards are Mr. Pirate and Miss Pirate Award, and that's our Student Athlete of the Year award. This award is it has a criteria of playing multiple sports. It has your GPA involved in it, obviously discipline. It's a whole criteria for it, and it's a cumulative award. It starts in 10th grade all the way to 12th grade, and we give it to a male senior and a female senior every year. This year's award winners are obviously two of our special seniors. We'll go ladies first, so we'll do Miss Pirate Award first. This young lady was a 3-year letterman in four sports: basketball, softball, cheerleading, and tennis. She also was all conference in softball, as well as had over a 3.8 GPA, I believe, well over a 3-point GPA. Just a phenomenal young lady, and obviously a good person in the classroom, as well as representing Drew Central. And our Miss Pirate Award, Student Athlete of the Year Award, this is what is to be inscribed on her award. The award is for outstanding merit and recognition to interscholastic sports competition, academic sportsmanship, and school pride. And this year's Miss Pirate Award goes to Kelly Jo Stain. Next, we'll do our Mr. Pirate Award. This goes to a senior male athlete. This young man lettered in 2 sports, football all 3 years and basketball all 3 years. He made All-State 2 times, 2 times in basketball. He also made All-Conference 5 times in his counting basketball and football in his athletic career. Also, again, had over a 3-point GPA. And like I had read before, his award will say, this award is for outstanding merit and recognition in interscholastic sports competition, academic sportsmanship, and school pride. Our Mr. Pirate Student Athlete of the Year is Travarius T-Man Shedd. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to our virtual sports banquet. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'd like to send a special shout out to Pauline Baptist Church for letting us use their facilities, and also Mr. Ryan Palmer for helping us edit and do the video and get everything together for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and we really did this just to honor you student athletes. Thank you.